My political panel joins me now. We have with us Donald Trump supporter Kayleigh McEnany, Hillary Clinton 2008 campaign manager Patty Solis Doyle, senior writer at The Federalist Mary Catherine Ham, and New York Times reporter Michael Schmidt. Kayleigh, let me start with you. At a rally in New Hampshire this afternoon, Trump supporter and the state's former governor, John Sununu, had this to say.
Do you think Bill was referring to Hillary when he said, "I did not have sex with that woman"?
Mr. Trump has been very disciplined. His surrogates necessarily not so much. New Hampshire, a very contested state. You guys need women votes. That can't help.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt or help, but I think it's important for every surrogate to stay on message too. We're talking about this right now. We could be talking about Trump gaining in the polls, but when you make a comment, it becomes newsworthy. And so I think John Sununu should be lighter on the jokes in the future.
Michael, let me ask you, because we played the sound earlier in the show about Rudy Giuliani 2 days before Comey's letter, going on Fox and talking about how they had something up their sleeve, something was about to happen. This morning he explained he knew about it. He'd been hearing from FBI agents about this internal rebellion and people wanting Comey to go forward. This can't please people in the FBI that this is being playing out like this.
In case this needed another development, you could now have a leak investigation into whether Rudy Giuliani got information incorrectly from the FBI. And would Rudy Giuliani claim that he's a journalist and he doesn't have to give up his sources, or how would that work? There was just a call from members on Capitol Hill for the Inspector General at DOJ to start a leak investigation. So now all of these stories that have come out have spurned this, and Democrats are saying this isn't fair, it's unfairly tainting Hillary.
Let me ask you, Patty, because the polls are moving in Trump's direction. Hillary Clinton still has an edge, but CNN taking on the electoral map, putting several states in the leans Republican and also putting New Hampshire from leans Democrat into toss-up. What's going on?
Well, look, I do think that the FBI, Comey's letter to the Hill, sort of moves some numbers in the wrong way for Hillary Clinton. But I think in the end, when the books are written about this election, I think the people who are going to win this election for Hillary Clinton are Hispanics and suburban women. I mean, we see all the early vote, and Hispanics are really peaking up in states like Nevada and Arizona and Florida and even North Carolina. She wins one of those states, she wins the election.
What do you think? Where do you see this election going? You're an undecided voter from the battleground state of Virginia.
Lord knows I don't have much time left.
Clock's ticking.
No, I think there's a bit of momentum on Trump's side. I think the issue for him has always been that the map is challenging for Republicans, and so very many things have to go right. And he has been more disciplined over the past little bit than he has in the past. But it would take a very disciplined candidate with a near perfect game for the remainder of the election and before now to have pulled off everything that needs to go right, plus a couple of other sort of lucky happenings. And I'm just not sure that the map is going to make that happen.
What do you think, Kayleigh?
I mentioned to you earlier in the week that I think the path is Florida, Ohio, Nevada, Iowa, and then any one of 6 or 7 states. And now we have New Hampshire in the battleground column and Maine's second congressional district. That's a path, a very viable one. Also, Michigan, the polls are tightening. He's only 4 behind in one poll, 3 in another. So I think it can be done. I agree with Mary Catherine. He has to be perfect, but I think it's a lot easier today, and I think we would all agree than it was last Thursday. Yes.
And Michael, as somebody who covers law enforcement issues, you broke the story about Hillary Clinton's private email server. Is it odd for you that the FBI has become such an issue in this campaign? I mean, her server obviously became an issue as soon as you broke that story, March 2nd, 2015. But now it's almost as if the competing leaks, it's almost as if the factions within the FBI and the Bureau itself becoming weaponized in the political arena.
Well, it's been politicized in a way that it really has never been before. They find themselves enmeshed in this, and they find it's very awkward for them. They don't like this. They like to just follow the facts and be as far away from this as possible. These stories make it look like there's all this infighting. It's this civil war going on. I don't think it's that bad, but they don't like to be in the headlines like this. And, they're certainly, I think, not going to say anything between now and Election Day. I think they realize the less they do, the better. And I think there was some window of thought that they could do something today, but they're certainly not going to say anything on Monday and, then they're at Tuesday.
There was news today, 2 of Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey, 2 of his former aides, convicted in that Bridgegate trial, and there's questions right now about whether Donald Trump, who his closing argument theme is drain the swamp, whether it's off message for him to campaign with Chris Christie. Chris Christie, we should point out, denies having any role in this or knowing about it at all.
Right.
If you were advising Donald Trump, would you say don't do it, don't appear with Chris Christie? It's
Well,
not
Hillary
worth it?
Clinton certainly made hay out of it. I'm not sure how much Christie's bringing to the table with his 20%-ish approval ratings in New Jersey.
In a
as
blue
it
state,
is.
that's not. Yeah.
So I'm not positive that he's doing a bunch as it is, so I might cut him loose. He's certainly done it before. We've seen to tell him to go home.
One of the things I love about Trump, though, is he's so loyal, though. He's not going to do what Hillary did and put Huma in hiding. You know, he's going to stay loyal to Christie. Christie was the first of the presidential contenders to come and endorse him, and I appreciate the loyalty.
Yeah, but I bet he's breathing a sigh of relief that he didn't pick him as VP right now.
Perhaps. Then we'd have a lot more to talk about there.
Bill Clinton today weighed in on the Melania Trump speech about cyberbullying from yesterday. Take a listen.
Yesterday, I never felt so bad for anybody in my life as I did for his wife going out, giving a speech saying, oh, cyberbullying was a terrible thing. I thought, yeah, especially if it's done at 3 o'clock in the morning against a former Miss Universe by a guy running for president.
Kaylee?
Look, I think not attacking Melania Trump probably not the wisest move. I think in a Bill Clinton versus Melania Trump battle, Melania wins.
I don't think it was
he
really
should have stayed
it wasn't really attacking
It was a
her.
little jab.
It was through her to Donald, I think, right?
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, what did you make of
Well,
that?
I'm not even sure that Melania and the Trump campaign aren't just messing with us. Like,
You think they're just trolling us?
Trolling
no,
us.
I do think like one of Trump's great gifts is to get a lot of attention for doing things that aren't necessarily that noteworthy. This is a potential first lady coming out and saying that I'm going to take on this anodyne cause, and it's a cause that we all agree with. But it's getting a ton of attention for this reason. And I don't think they really mind what kind of attention it is.
Is this a conscious? Trump has not made any big headlines in the past, week. Was this a conscious thing that he did, or is this just he's just becoming a better campaigner?
Well, you tell us.
Look, I think that Melania Trump cares deeply about this cause, and if she wants to make this her cause, she should. I think there's a big difference between Donald Trump punching back at an opponent and young women being attacked on social media and it ruining their lives in some cases.
The counter argument, though, would be that a president is an example for children, and his behavior online certainly fits all classic definitions of cyberbullying.
Well, Melania has said at times she hasn't agreed with some of the things he's said or done, but this is her cause, and like Van Jones said, I think we should applaud her for wanting to do good.
All right. Thanks one and all for being here. I appreciate it. Kaylee, Patty, Mary Catherine, Michael.